Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Bet On Us. I'm BK. He's Sab. Got a lot to talk about. We're right in the thick of it with the NFL season, NBA heating up. We already forgot about the Tyson, I was going to say Tyson Fury, the Tyson Paul fight. That's
That's
this
how
the
much we've
history.
forgotten about it.
Yep, we're moving on from the old man. But how'd you do with some of your picks this week, Sab? We can let you start and take it from there.
I mean, we 3 out of 4 plays hit. The Niners are the only ones that messed us up. We would have hit a big parlay if the Niners could have covered 6, but they didn't even win outright, which was terrible. So just a bad game for them.
Yeah,
But we hit the Broncos -2. That wasn't. I mean, wow. We'll talk a little bit more about Bo Nix in a little
crazy,
bit. I'm chomping at the
crazy.
bit to talk about him. And then we also had. Oh gosh, my brain is just stopped. We had the Niners lose. We had the Steelers. We had the Steelers plus 3.5 against the Ravens
Yep.
at home. And then there was one other -2 game that is completely lost out of my head.
Oh,
I can't
what was
I
it?
can't
It was
remember.
ones we were split on. I remember like we all the kind of like slam dunk games
Oh, it
this
was the
week.
Bills. It was the
We,
Bills. It was
Bills
the Bills game.
Chiefs. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then on
Of
these real the
course.
game of the week types, we went in separate directions.
How could I forget about the best player on planet Earth? How could I
Your
forget about
husband, man, you forgot about him.
unbelievable? Like if I could move to a state, well, that's legal everywhere now. But so yeah, he that's my guy, man, and he just make and there those I saw some Chiefs podcasts. I came across it on TikTok, not by choice, but they were just talking about, man, it just seemed like Josh Allen was the best player on the field that game, and it wasn't even close. Josh Allen's the best player on the field in every single game he plays, unless
Mhm.
when he steps on the field, when the game starts, he may not have good games every week. He is
Yep.
the best player that steps on the field, and this year has shown that. Yes, Patrick Mahomes has the Super Bowls. Yes, Patrick Mahomes is an amazing athlete. I'm not saying maybe he's 1B, okay? But in my mind, that dude just consistently makes insane plays all the time with lack of weapons and lack of help around him. It's just, man, the guy is just something. He's throwing to Khalil Shakir
Yeah.
and Matt Collins. I mean, those are his 2 receivers on Sunday, and it did not matter because the guy just makes plays when it matters the
Yep.
most, and he plays at the
His
biggest
legs
level.
are killing it.
Yeah,
You know,
and
I don't know if you saw when Romo was calling the game and he was saying like later in the game, like trying to take down this big quarterback with these strong legs. And he
yeah.
was like, Josh Allen's legs are just paramount. And it was over the Paramount Plus thing.
Oh, wow.
And
That's
whatever
interesting. I didn't
contest
see that.
or whoever the other guy was like, wow, Tony, did you just do that? And he's like, you caught it.
The timing, yeah, he's just no, I didn't see that one. Yeah, that was I was
Yeah.
watching the Bronco game mostly during Sunday, and I'm just gonna get right into it. Bo Nix is the offensive rookie of the year right now,
Mhm.
in my opinion. I know Jayden Daniels came out of the gate strong, but he's starting to fade. It's not how you start; it's how you finish. Obviously, we have 6, 7 games left in the regular season, so anything
Yeah.
can happen.
Yeah.
But
Still a lot of time.
so I made the bet with Bo Nix being offensive. Like I said, I've made every Bronco bet this year except their over/under on wins, which they've already hit because I'm an idiot. But I took Bo Nix as offensive rookie of the year plus 1,300. Just put 10 on it, obviously, because I was throwing money all around at the beginning of the season. It's now up to plus 350 for him to win the offensive rookie of the year,
What
and
was it at the outset?
it was plus 1,300 to start the season. Now it's
Man,
plus 350. So I threw another $20 on it just because I really think he's gonna win it. I think he's
who's
got
ahead of him?
so Jayden Daniels is the only one ahead of him. He's at minus 525 right now, but
Jeez.
he was minus 950 2 weeks ago. So
Yeah.
he's coming down, and Jayden Daniels, his schedule compared to Bo Nix, at least in the next 2 weeks, is way
Right.
different. So the Broncos got the Raiders and the Browns coming up. The Raiders have given the most points up to quarterbacks all season. So I'm looking for him to have another big game. He had a big game against them a couple weeks ago. And the Browns, obviously, are the Browns right now. They're playing like crap. So
Yep.
I think
And I
by the
want to come
time,
back to Jayden Daniels. Don't let me forget
yeah,
because
of
I got
course. No, no, go ahead. Because
you.
I'm gonna, if you don't stop me now, we'll talk till
The
10
man
o'clock
is
at
on
night
a
about Bo
tear.
Nix. Yeah, we'll talk till
A little Broncos magic, and you just can't stop him.
it's been
But
10 years since I can be this happy, man. So
we are in total opposite directions. It's
it's
crazy.
crazy. Yeah.
It's nuts. But a couple things real quick. You know, the Bills Chiefs, that was probably the game of the week. That was your
Yep.
regular season Super Bowl of sorts. And, you know, I obviously took the Chiefs. I'm the Mahomes guy. But, you know, it was one of those games going into it. I said, it is going to be that back and forth, who gets the ball last. That kind of classic, like, Josh Allen didn't lose the game. It's just that Mahomes won it sort of thing.
Yeah.
But in this one, as soon as the game opened, you saw that they got Mahomes a little rattled and they got the pressure. I don't know if you saw on the opening drive where he just threw the grenade.
Yeah,
And
I did see
he
that.
just
Yeah.
literally from the hip throws a grenade to the middle of the field, sky high,
Yeah.
that obviously was intercepted. And I was like, man, in this type of game, you just can't have that brain fart that he had. And sure enough, when it got to the end of the game, the Chiefs were getting them to 3rd and long. But then Josh Allen was lots of times using his legs, like Romo pointed out. He would take off, had that big run that it was weird. It's almost like the Chiefs didn't know, like, do we try to tackle him and force a field goal, or do we just let him score real quick so we get more time? And he just gutted him. He just ran all the way.
Yeah, and that's just him being the athlete that he is. And he is so hard to bring down. And defenders talk about it all the time. Like, when you see a guy coming in the hole, it's not Derrick Henry coming in that hole, but as far as quarterbacks go, they run a lot of design runs for him. So like, they'll run the design QB draws or the QB sweeps and whatnot. And he's tough to bring down, man. And he doesn't want to go down. He's not one of those guys that's going to go down.
Sliding.
No, he's not sliding unless he is already made 20 yards and there's an open field. But he's going to stiff arm you. He's going to do all that stuff. And probably why he's got the messed up hand with the stiff arm hand, the left hand. But it doesn't matter, man. He's such a freak, and he's my MVP right now. I think he's kind of leading the way. After Lamar's bad week, I think he's.
I don't know if he's got the numbers, but yeah, he's in the conversation, no doubt. Yeah. And I think people listening right now, that are the betting types looking for those tips, you ought to have alarms going off at Josh Allen's over on rushing yards. If you're seeing anything in future weeks of 30 yards, 35, that should be an exciting opportunity because he can get that in 2 runs easy.
That's true. I was going to say
like
that.
you said, he likes
2 runs for him. Yeah, that's 2 runs for him usually. Yeah, he's a freak, man. And, yeah. But
something to think about. And what I just wanted to say real quick you were kind of posing rookie of the year. Is it going to be Bo Nix or is it going to be Jayden Daniels? They're kind of moving a little bit in opposite directions with Jayden Daniels falling off a bit. What I wanted to say is where I have been dominating is going against the grain and taking the overs, covering the spread against the Cowboys the past couple weeks. That was one of my big hits this week, -7 against the Texans. I went heavy on that one. They got blown out. I think it was like 34-10 or something like that, the final score.
Yep.
And then the week prior against the Eagles was -6.5 and did a lot there, and they lost by 28. So the Cowboys have not been letting me down and sucking so bad.
Yeah.
But my point is that going to continue? They play the Commanders this week, and they're 10-point dogs, which is a lot. That's the biggest underdog we've seen them be yet this year, -10 or +10, I guess, from the Cowboys standpoint. Do they turn it around a little bit? Do they find some footing? You got Micah Parsons healthy, playing hard still. Is this one of those games where if Jayden Daniels gets flustered and doesn't do well against a terrible Cowboys team, I think that could not crush, but really, really hurt his rookie of the year chances.
Yeah, he's got to dominate this game. He has to dominate it. And if he doesn't, like you said, because I think Bo Nix will have a good game against the Raiders. I sure hope so. The Raiders are a team that are probably one of the worst teams in football, if not the worst. I don't know if they've played the Panthers yet, but so he has to have a good game. And like you said, the Cowboys are just, I mean, you look at every single player's face on that sideline, it tells the story, man. Like they either we don't know what's going on, we don't want to be here, or both. It's just and even Mike McCarthy, it's just like with his Waffle House menu of a play calling sheet. Like, I mean, he just looks
even try and cover it. I thought that was weird. Against the camera, he had it up where you could read the backs at end of game situations. You could read every play on there. They don't care.
No, there was a video somebody made, and they paused it on their TV, and they saw literally 3 whole sections of the playbook: 3rd and long, 3rd and medium, and then there was 2nd and short or something. So he was literally going crazy. He was a Cowboys fan, losing his mind. So that's what and it was just that's how it's been with the Cowboys. Everything is a meme and everything is a joke.
It's true. There's not a bright spot there. Even if you said, me, the diehard Cowboys fan, is there anything to look at? Maybe the one talking point, which is pathetic, has been their kicker,
Yeah.
Brandon Aubrey. Aubrey gets in there. Again, I'm watching the line on this game on Monday night because that's all I really cared about. Aubrey gets in there and he shanks a 40-yard field goal. And that's when you're like, this team is just complete toast. They're done.
Yeah. And then he makes a 64-yarder and they take it off the board. And they're like, "Nah, we're good. Let's go turn it over instead." Like,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
I get it. You always take the first down in those situations, especially when you're down. You got to get touchdowns and stuff. But it's just like that's kind of the symbolism of their season so far is taking 64-yard field goals off the board to turn it over. It's just
Yeah.
crazy.
And you know what? I mean, Cooper Rush did not look terrible. It looked like he wasn't playing like shy. He was making some aggressive throws, stepping into it. And it was as if like he came into the game with CD and was like, my playbook is just to throw you the ball every single play.
Right.
And it was working. I mean,
Yeah.
the CD is still playing hard, as pissed off as he appears to be, but I mean, he's maybe it if he said, is there anything positive there? He's still making great catches. He's running great routes, getting open, like double coverage every play. So, but one man can't do it.
His first read every time is CD. Every time you look at it, I was like, where's the first read? And as it should be.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real. It's it. You got nobody else really. I mean, you were throwing to Schoolmaker or Shoemaker or whatever his name is.
Schoolmaker.
He had 14 targets Monday night. Like that's insane. Like, and they got
Ferguson was out. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Ferguson got the concussion or something. But I mean, I understand that Cooper Rush is the guy that went 5-1 a couple years ago or whatever it was, and you have to go with Trey Lance and have to see what you have with him. Even if not saying he's going to be your quarterback, but at least something that maybe you can make a deal down the road for something that you need to help Dak Prescott. He might light it up. I mean, he probably won't, but but give him a shot.
Keep in mind, the Cowboys got the Thanksgiving game coming up, as pathetic as that is, and they're playing the Giants, which at this point should almost not be televised. But at least the Giants, with all the pressure, all the chatter that you're hearing in New York with the Giants and Jets, but with the Giants, they finally said, we're moving on from Danny Jones. We're benching him. And now Tommy DeVito, kind of the hometown favorite, is coming back into the driver's seat. New York loves the kid. So it's like he's getting another shot. I don't think he's really an NFL quarterback, but he's fun and he's exciting. He spices it up. The Cowboys got to do that. That would be a great opportunity on Thanksgiving to have Trey Lance and Tommy DeVito, two young kind of wild cards, go at it. So it's just, you look at everything with the Cowboys and say, what are they doing? None of it makes sense.
No, and to just by you saying Tommy DeVito and Trey Lance on Thanksgiving, we might have the first blackout Thanksgiving game of all time where it's just like, they don't sell enough seats. They don't sell them. So, you got to watch it on your AM FM radio with the antennas. That's the only way you're going to get it. But I mean,
as it should be.
And not to dwell on the Giants too much, but it's funny. Drew Lock was the backup all year. And I was hearing on the radio, I'm like thinking, why would they not go to him? Like the guy was the backup all the time. He has so many contract incentives that it's insane. They went through all of them. But the funny thing is none of them are going to hit. It was all like if you played 65% of the snaps, if you paid it was 75, 65, but it was all paired with if they made the playoffs. And it was all paired with if they win a playoff game with him. It's like none of that stuff's going to happen. So none of these incentives are going to come through. But I think you're right. I think it's just like they're so desperate for something that they have to go to Tommy DeVito because Drew Lock isn't going to be the guy to get anybody excited. Take it from me personally. I know that in his time with Denver, I was excited for about 2 games and then it went away. But so it's just a mess. The whole NFC, that bottom half of the NFC East is just if we could have swapped those that Thursday game, made that the other Giants Cowboys game, and then maybe get Washington Philly on Thanksgiving, that might have been better. But hey, we'll just eat leftovers during that game.
Exactly. So just to kind of round out the week, I mean, that was my slam dunk pick was the Texans -7. Yeah, that was a great one. That was my big one that I would highlight. And then a couple little sprinkles, we'll call them Sab sprinkles, I threw in there. Joe Mixon in that same game,
Oh,
2+ touchdowns. He did that in the first quarter.
beautiful.
Okay. Which was awesome. And then one thing on Sunday that I really liked, my fantasy quarterback, Justin Herbert, kind of ripped that position away from Trevor Lawrence, who God knows what happened to
Yeah.
him. Herbert's looking awesome. And Burrows, he's the November guy. I parlayed the over passing yards on them. That hit by a lot. So
Yeah.
that was pretty cool. On the downside, yeah, I picked the Ravens where you picked the Steelers. Ravens did not come to play, made a couple mistakes. They lost that one. And then my long shot, TJ Hawkinson, 50 yards and a touchdown. He just didn't really get the ball. I was kind of surprised that, he's not really in the mix.
The Titans do one thing well, and that's to defend the tight end. That's the one thing
I guess
they do
you were
well.
right. Yep.
Yeah, that's the one thing they do well. It makes no sense. But go back to your fantasy team, okay? We've had a lot of punchlines on your fantasy team this year, but somebody's tied for first right now in the
That's
league,
right.
and it's not me. And it's you. 7-4. I mean, our league is crazy congested. You have the top 3 teams at 7-4. Then you've got like 4 more at 5, 6 and 5, and then like 5 more at 5 and 6. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, it's gonna be interesting.
Just to show our fans the fantasy football acumen that I have. My first pick, mind you, was ETN. Okay, Travis Etienne.
Well, it was Gibbs. It was Gibbs. You had Gibbs first.
Well, they were back to back because I think I was the end of the snake.
Right. Well, on the board, I put Gibbs first.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so right there, near first round pick for me was ETN, who's literally riding my bench. The guy, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just kind of shows like when you make some good pickups along the way and have some of those sleepers, especially in a flex league like ours, that's what can happen.
And it is a keeper league for somebody that's going to go, oh, you take ETN in the first round. It was a keeper league, okay? So 14 guys were off the board before we made any picks. So just that's another thing for
That's right. Yeah, having Garrett Wilson as my 8th rounder helps, which I couldn't believe this when we were watching Sunday, that I saw Garrett Wilson, I believe, is the number 2 receiver right now in fantasy points, which blew my mind. I was like, how is he? Yeah, I want to say he was like 2 or 3, which I had to like look 3 more times to verify that because it didn't make sense. But
yeah,
it is. He's had a number of 25-point games, and I was really surprised. I was like, well, maybe that's what's helping me too.
Well, yeah, that definitely helps a little for sure. Matchups help. Everything helps. I mean, you can have me where you have 3 first-round picks on your team, making trades, making deals. That doesn't make a damn bit of difference, and you're scoring 100 a week. So, I digress.
Yeah. So what do you got for? I know really people tune into this to hear about Thursday night. You got the Steelers playing the Browns tomorrow night. What's your take on that? Any bets?
So last week we got back on track after losing the first one, the Ravens not covering. We hit with the Eagles last week. The Eagles dominated that game pretty much towards the end. Saquon Barkley. This one, I know we talked about it off air, is tough because obviously the Steelers at 8-2 are head, shoulders, torso, everything above the Browns. Right, the Browns are terrible. But you have a short week with a team on the road. The Steelers' offense was awful, borderline awful. Let's be honest. I mean, Russell Wilson couldn't get anything going. The Ravens had the worst pass defense in football, and he still barely eclipsed 200 yards. This is my thing. Not going to just keep hating on Russell Wilson, but if you play zone defense against Russell Wilson, he's going to struggle. If you play any sort of too high safety or anything like that, and a matchup zone or whatever, he's going to struggle because he needs to fit that ball, and he'll throw the quick 5-yard route, and he'll throw the fade, right? And that's pretty much it. What I'm getting at is this is the Cleveland Browns Super Bowl. Okay, I've taken, I think almost every Thursday, I've taken the favorite, most of them, right? For the sake of argument, and I've gone back and forth, I think this is the flip-up week for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I was gonna go Moneyline Browns, but I'm gonna play it safe and take the 3.5. Plus 3.5 at home. The Cleveland Browns, maybe they lose a close one by a field goal just to be safe. I might come back and be like, what are you doing? This might be a 30-0 Steelers win at the end of the day. You never know. But I just think this Jameis Winston on prime time, he says all the right things. The guy is something else, right? Nick Chubb, this is, like I said, this is their Super Bowl. I mean, you beat the Steelers, you mess up their ranking in the AFC, you got something at least to hang your head on for at least a week, for a long week. Actually, they play Thursday and then they don't play till the following Monday at Denver. So they got a lot of time in between games. I think the Browns can get it done. I think they cover the 3.5. That's my Thursday pick.
Gotcha. So I got a few here because this was one of the games where like you just looked at the matchups and you're like, oh, like I'm not
Yeah.
real excited about any of the opportunities here.
No.
The Steelers obviously have a great record, but lots of times you're like, are they that good? I mean, mind you, the Cowboys beat them. And then the Browns have an awful record, but they're only 2 weeks removed from whooping up the Ravens. Confusing teams here, you know? And
That's
so,
the NFL. It's the beauty of the NFL, man. It really is.
yeah.
It's a week-to-week thing.
But I think if you really just look at paper and say, hey, let's kind of just look at the data, if you will. I'm not with a ton of confidence, but I'm going to take the Steelers minus 3.5. I just think they got a great defense. It's going to be a sloppy game, going to be cold, windy, possibly rainy in Cleveland. I think all those are kind of Steelers things. And I think you said it's the Browns Super Bowl. I think this is the point where the Steelers can say, we're going to show everybody we're one of the best teams in the NFL and go to 9-2. Or they lose to the Browns and it's like, wow, they're an overrated bunch. Like, don't worry about the Steelers. So with that narrative, I think maybe the Steelers are able to cover the 3.5. Some other things to consider. I looked at Najee Harris. All right, this is something I'm going to do. You can take the total over yards. So this is rushing and receiving at 78.5. I think on the ground, it was like 60 yards. I think in a sloppy game, he might be able to get that. But I like the flex of an extra 18 yards because he can get a lot of kind of quick checkdowns from Wilson that if he's a little flustered or whatever, little screen passes. 78.5 for Najee. I'm taking the over. And then the one I was really excited about, this if I was actually going to put some action on it, TJ Watt, the over-under for tackles is 4. All right, TJ Watt is the Steelers. He's certainly the defense. He's a game changer. He's involved, it seems like, every play. So to get 4 tackles, I'm going to take the over on that for TJ Watt.
He might be the only player you say, like, you know how, like, on offense, you're like, the offense runs through this guy. The defense runs through TJ Watt, like, no matter what the
100%.
play is. And, I mean, he made some plays. That tackle in the backfield on Derrick Henry on Sunday was just unbelievable. Like, you don't see that happen to Derrick Henry where he just got vertical, like he was horizontal. Like, he got smoked. And that doesn't happen often, man. That guy is just a freak. He's going to be the defensive player of the year, most likely. Hopefully they don't steal it from him again like they did last year. But the guy who did win it, Myles Garrett, he's the guy to watch out for, too, on Thursday night. He's going to give Russell Wilson fits. The Steelers can never block that guy. They play him twice a year. They can never figure out how to block him. Not many teams can, but, I mean, if there was a Myles Garrett, TJ Watt prop somewhere where you can bet they're over on sacks together, like 2.5 or something like that, that would be pretty cool. I would take that.
Oh, yeah. I don't know about the total. Yeah.
Yeah, or parlay it even. Get crazy.
Parlay a piece.
Yeah. I think they'll each get one tomorrow night for sure.
So
I would assume
that's my thoughts there. I got Watt over 4 tackles, Najee over 78.5 total yards.
Yes.
And I'll go with the Steelers minus 3.5. So I guess I'm going Steelers everywhere on Thursday.
Yeah, I get it. And I kind of wanted to juice it up a little bit. That the Steelers is definitely the safe pick, but I just have this weird feeling about the Browns on that Thursday, and I feel like it's going to be a sloppy game. Like, I can see a 13-10 Pittsburgh win easily. Like, 14-10 obviously covers for them, so, like, it's not going to be high-powered offenses going at it. It's going to be ugly. Like you said, the weather's going to suck. It's
And
going
to that point, over-under on total points is 36.5. That line has been moving down.
Yeah.
So that's I'm not going to take it just because if you look at the scoring on both teams, usually combined, they're well over that, believe it or not. But again, talking maybe a sloppy game on Thursday and both definitely not offensive minded teams.
No.
A lot of people like that under. So
it'll be a classic AFC North battle like it was with the Ravens Steelers. And it sounds weird putting the Browns in a battle with anything, but it's a Thursday night though. That's where they get the advantage. If this was a Sunday game, I think, you know, the short week after playing the Ravens, that was a big win for them, a tough win, and then they got to flip around on a short week. Could
Yep.
be could help the Browns a little bit.
And I liked, I thought it was kind of crazy, but really sealing the deal for the Steelers at the end of the game, they put in Justin Fields. And,
Yeah,
which
I
is
did.
smart.
That's right. Yeah.
Because now, as like the Ravens defense, you're like, all of a sudden, like, oh crap. Like,
Yep.
they only got to pick up 4 or 5 yards here. And now they brought in a whole nother element that this guy's ready to go. And
Yeah.
oh, yeah, that run. And then switching gears real quick, I know we got basketball fans. It's still early in that season. We haven't gone really all in. Sabby doesn't even watch till Christmas.
I watched last night. I got well. Go for it. And then I got something to add. I got something to add. Go for it.
I really wanted to kind of throw something out there for everybody. So we got tonight, Wednesday night, we got the Grizzlies playing the Sixers. Just trying to look at lines and everything. The Sixers are almost like the Cowboys of the NBA right now. They're a mess. They're doing absolutely terrible. You got the own teammates of Joel Embiid saying the guy's just notoriously late for everything. He doesn't care. Like,
doesn't he look like a guy that's notoriously late for everything? Like, if he could have a look, like he looks like he just rolled out of bed half the time. So I get. It makes
he's
sense.
the ultimate, like, I could care less what's going on player.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the Sixers are just falling apart, and then the Grizzlies, Memphis Grizzlies, even without John Morant, they're looking pretty good. So if anybody likes analytics, ESPN Analytics has the Grizzlies with a significant chance of winning this game. However, the sportsbooks have the Grizzlies as an outright underdog going against the Sixers. So I'm going to take the Grizzlies money line. Right now it's plus 120 and see if they can, quote unquote, upset the Sixers. Right. They can't win a game.
And the Sixers are 2-11. I heard 2-11. Like, that's
bottom
insane.
of the barrel, man.
Yeah, and that's gonna be. And I know it's a long season, but they got to crawl out of that hole sooner than later. Because I mean, you're gonna get those tough games. You're gonna end up playing Boston's, the Miami's. The Miami smoked them the other night. Mm-hmm. They better get it together and get it together soon. And Embiid better stop missing games for the sniffles or whatever he had the other day. I mean, this is just.
They were talking on McAfee yesterday with one of the Sixers writers that they had already called a players-only meeting. Yeah. And, it really smelled a lot like the Mets, where at the beginning of the season, my New York Mets were in dead last. They could not win a game. Francisco Lindor calls a players-only meeting, fires up the team, and then they started to go on a run.
Yeah.
But with the Sixers, it doesn't seem like they have that Lindor type or that chemistry. You got Embiid. And so I don't know if that's really going to turn the tide quite yet. Yeah. So give me the Grizzlies.
Yeah, and Tyrese Maxey, I guess, was the one that was real critical of him, calling him out, saying he was late, whatever. And Kyle Lowry, I guess, called the meeting. But I did watch an NBA game last night. I watched the Thunder and Spurs as I was not being able to sleep. Oh, my goodness. What happened to the NBA? I thought you could shoot 2-point shots in the NBA. Is that not a thing anymore? Is it just you have to shoot threes? They shot 99 3-pointers between the two of them last night. 99. The Thunder at one point were 12 for 47 from three, and it was like there was still like 8 minutes left in the game. I mean, a 90. I mean, and the Thunder. So the Spurs were without Wembanyama last night. So you're thinking, cool, the big guy's out. Let's go drive to the basket right now. Let's just settle for threes. Oh, spoiler alert, they lost. A game they were 10-plus point favorites. I think they lost. And I mean, it's getting to a point where each game is looking more and more like the All-Star game, where they're just jacking up threes and stuff like that, and playing a little more defense, obviously. But I know it's early in the season, but that for somebody that likes to watch sports and likes basketball and has played basketball at certain levels in school and stuff like that and knows the game, it's hard to watch. It really is. And for a casual fan that doesn't know, or not that we know a bunch, but that isn't as sports driven like us, no one's gonna watch that. Just a bunch of guys cranking up threes and breaking them off. No one wants to watch that.
Yeah,
it was bad. Man. Bad. I don't
basketball. Get it. And that's why I think you have kind of like this upper echelon right now of the Cavs that are friggin' awesome, and then the Celtics, and they played last night. I didn't catch the game.
That was a good game too. I caught the end of it. That was actually a decent one. But again, the Celtics shot almost 53 pointers.
Yeah, granted, they hit a lot. They are a good 3-point shooting team. Yeah. But I think that's where you have kind of this upper tier of the NBA, and then everybody else. And for that reason, that they're kind of live by the three, die by the three. I really don't like this in-season playoff cup thing. I think is just really stupid.
Very indifferent about that. Yeah, I'm not sure about it either.
Yeah, it feels like the NBA is just trying to kind of spice up the regular season because it is a pretty long regular season. It's not baseball, but it's long. And then the playoffs, when you compare playoffs, when you when you compare the playoffs to March Madness, it seems like a marathon. So
Yeah.
you have kind of two what feel like marathons in the NBA.
Yeah.
So they throw this thing in there where they make the courts look just stupid as could be with these absurd colors.
It looks like when you're
But
on when you play, I think it was like NBA Live like 04 or 05 where you could like mess up with the courts and you could
yeah,
just make your own designs and stuff. It
yeah,
looked like that's what they did.
yeah.
But they're
It's like
trying
Aaron Rodgers went on his little mushroom trips and designed
That's
NBA courts.
exactly it. That's exactly it. Well, it's like it's November, right? And they want people to watch NBA in November and December while football's going on. So they have to try something because
True.
they won't shorten the season because they'll lose money with ticket sales and stuff like that. Even though in the long run it would help probably with viewership and things like that. But that's what they're trying to do. They're just trying to do anything to get eyes on the TV. And yeah, you see that court, it's like whoa, and then you watch for 5 minutes and then you get the view. But it's just bad basketball though. At the end of the day, there's not good basketball being played right now.
I would much rather see, if I was in the front office of the NBA, I would rather see like a rivalry week, where or weeks, maybe a 2-week stretch where it's like, hey, we're almost kind of pausing the season. Doesn't matter where your teams are located. We're going to have Lakers playing Boston maybe 3 times over 2 weeks. We're going to, kind of really bring back some of that, which is so hard because these players go everywhere, which I hate, but that's the nature of the beast. But I think something like that would be more exciting because the NBA right now, they do not have a rivalry and it sucks. That's something that's missing.
Yeah, for sure. It's lacking it for sure, but we'll see. Maybe it'll kick up. Yeah, Christmas Day is when I start watching NBA, so we'll see. But man, if it's anything like last night, I don't know if I want to watch too much.
Yeah, and thanks, Ab. Another thing to that point is like you're struggling to watch the NBA as a basketball fan.
Yeah.
And mind you, there's a guy still in the league named LeBron James. He's not going to be there forever. When LeBron retires, the NBA's got to get something going because they're not doing so well right now. And you have almost like a Michael Jordan type player. When that guy leaves, what are they going to do? I mean, I think that for a lot of like real basketball fans, that's an immediate hit when he decides to hang it up.
And I think this could be it. But knowing LeBron, I think he wants that like tour, if you will, that like kind of like Kobe got, where he so I think maybe he'll announce that, all right, this is my final year next year, and then he gets like all the stuff and everyone loves him and everything like that, and the Lakers go 40-42, miss the play-in, and then that's it. But it's like you said, he's not going to play forever, and he's even said it. He's hinting at it. He's been hinting at it the last couple of weeks, but now that his son's in the league for
kind of
maybe for the next couple weeks anyway. So we'll see what happens.
It was kind of sad. I mean, you see, they're making such a big deal in the news that he had his first basket in the G League.
In the G League,
that this is something we want to recognize. I don't know if he comes back to the NBA, to be honest.
I think he will, only because LeBron's there. But once LeBron's gone, I think that's it. It'll be a 2-year stint, and he'll be playing in like Argentina or something like that. I think that's overseas
or he'll go
basketball.
make a movie.
Or just be rich and do whatever you want. So.
All righty. Well, definitely had a lot of good stuff to talk about on this Week 11 recap. If you could believe, we're just chugging along in the NFL.
Very
definitely
sad.
Tune in Thursday Night Football. You heard our picks. We're going to put them in the show notes again, share them on social media and stuff. But that was cool. Any closing thoughts, Seb?
No, man, just looking forward to the Browns upset tomorrow night, and then looking forward to Sunday, man, and talking about Bo Nix more. Because I didn't talk about him enough as I wanted to, but it's the show's got to go on. No one wants to listen to me. It's like watching the NBA players jack up 53s. No one wants to listen to me talk about Bo Nix for a half hour. So
so follow Bet on Us on social media and Sab, and you can just get diarrhea of Bo Nix thrown at you. And keep on tuning in, guys, and we will see you this weekend. Good luck with your Thursday night pick.